The Indiana Fever continued to make huge moves in free agency, signing players like Sophie Cunningham and DeWanna Bonner. I don't even think they're done yet. Can you believe what the Indiana Fever just did? They didn't just make a few signings, they went all out. Sophie Cunningham, Natasha Howard, and DeWanna Bonner aren't just names, they're weapons. Now, you might be wondering why I should care, but let me tell you that this isn't just about basketball. It's about sending a message. The Fever are done being pushed around. They're here to push back. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up next. The Indiana Fever have their enforcer for Caitlin Clark. And I won't lie, last year everyone was talking about how they needed an enforcer. And the closest thing they had for someone to defend Caitlin Clark was Erica Wheeler. Remember how teams used to push Clark around last season? Well, those days are over. Cunningham isn't here to make friends, she's here to start wars. If you look at Clark the wrong way, and Cunningham will be in your face faster than you can blink. It's as if the Fever just hired a personal bodyguard for their star player defense. Sophie really has a game that is similar to Lexi Hall. She is a tall guard who can shoot threes and is nasty on defense. What I love about her is that she brings a lot of energy and spark to the court and isn't afraid to go after it. I feel like she will also act as an enforcer on this team. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just dirty play? But wait, there's more to this story. Cunningham isn't just about intimidation. She's a multifaceted wing who can make three-pointers like it's nobody's business. Over the last 3 seasons, she has been in the top 20 in the WNBA for three-pointers made per minute, which isn't just good. She's athletic, she can defend, she's tall, and she's good, but she also brings this grit and energy that this team is going to thrive off of. Cunningham's intensity is so intense that some people say it borders on psychotic. It's true that she's been in more on-court altercations than some UFC fighters. At one point, she attempted to fight Misha Hines-Allen, but most players would back down because she's like a pit bull with a basketball IQ. You can see that everyone else was trying to get as far away from this situation as possible, so she hits a 3 Misha Hines out and fouls her, then tries to step over. Sophie Cunningham then grabs her leg, and no one is going near Misha, but Sophie Cunningham will start the fight. The referee is trying to break it up. I'm going head-to-head with Misha Allen because none of the Mercury players will approach her because they're afraid she'll scare Bijous out. Now, if you're wondering why this matters for the Fever, let me explain. Cunningham is the enforcer the team sorely needs. She's not just protecting Clark, she's changing the dynamic of the team. Imagine trying to defend against Clark when you know Cunningham is waiting to ruin your life. If you play too rough, teams won't be able to face guard Caitlin as if they were picking her up full court and double teaming her. The best thing about her game that I think will translate so well to the Fever is the energy she brings. She seems like a hard worker who seems to love the game of basketball. And I think that when the Fever is thinking about players they want to surround Caitlin with, and players they want to build this dynasty with, which I believe they're trying to do, they have to think about these players' mindsets. Her offensive game is no joke. She's been shooting an impressive 38% from three-point range over the last 4 seasons. That's not just good, it's game-changing. Signed a player, they added a weapon. Cunningham is like the WNBA's Charles Oakley. She's tough, skilled, and not afraid to get in your face. This isn't just about protecting Caitlin Clark. It's also about sending a message to the entire league that the Fever is over being pushed around and that she would love to play with her at some point. She has been very vocal in the media about how much she loves Caitlin Clark's game, and she has stated that she would love to play with her. I just feel like she will be a great fit for this team. You may have thought the Fever was over after they signed Sophie Cunningham, but they just signed Natasha Howard, and let me tell you that this isn't just any signing. Howard is going to change all that. warning that three-time WNBA champion Natasha Howard will join the Indiana Fever as a free agent. The former Defensive Player of the Year and two-time All-Star will bolster the team's front court and bring veteran experience. Now, you may be wondering what makes Howard so special. Let's break it down. She's not just good, she's championship good. Here, we're talking about the 2019 WNBA Defensive Player of the Year, which is like winning an Oscar for making opponents cry on the court. But here's where it gets really interesting. Howard isn't just a shot blocker, she's a defensive mastermind who can guard multiple positions. Natasha Howard is a game changer for the Fever. Now, you might be wondering how this helps Clark, but think about it. Having a player who can stretch the floor and protect the rim is like having a Swiss Army knife on your team. Howard's presence on the court gives Clark and the rest of the team a lot of opportunities. And it's not just about blocking shots and grabbing rebounds. It's about creating a defensive force field that lets your offense flourish. I thought the Howard move might have been their final big move, but perhaps they're not done yet. Either way, I believe Lexi Hull is coming off the bench now with Sophie Cunningham in tow, or they acquire another wing player who can shoot and play. Howard is a player who understands what it takes to win championships. She was crucial to the Storm's 2020 championship victory, and last season he averaged 17 points. They also add the defense, rebounding, rim running, and Howard, but Howard brings more than just skills. She brings a winning mentality that you can't teach. 6 points in 6, 7 rebounds per game for the Dallas Wings is a clutch performance. Right there, as I mentioned earlier, Natasha Howard seemed like the ideal fit. So you have a front office that comes in, brings in a new coach, and then addresses areas of need, not just bringing in names, but also bringing in players who fill in the gaps and strengthen the roster. Can you imagine trying to score against that? If you look closely at what Caitlin Clark-Stephanie White is doing, she is building a team around herself. She has already worked with or coached Natasha Howard years ago when she played in Indiana, so she is familiar with her game. I'm sure the two have stayed in touch over the years. A team with Howard patrolling the paint and Cunningham ready to get in your face is like trying to break into Fort Knox with a plastic spoon. The Fever isn't just building a team, they're building a fortress around their crown jewel. In a stunning move, 6-time All-Star DeWanna Bonner is set to transform this team from a fortress into an impenetrable castle. You may be wondering, wait, another player? But let me assure you that Bonner isn't just any player. She's a game changer, a leader, and exactly what this team needs to go for. From good to unstoppable, tweeted 6-time All-Star and WNBA champion DeWanna Bonner is joining the Indiana Fever by trading for Sophie Cunningham and bringing in seasoned veterans Bonner and Natasha Howard. The Fever have exploded into the title conversation, is still playing at a high level, and her influence extends far beyond the stat sheet. She acts as a coach on the court, helping younger players navigate high-pressure situations. This is next-level mentoring. DeWanna Bonner is also a veteran in this league, and she can do it all. She can shoot the three, and she is also nasty on defense, which, as you may recall, was something that many people criticized the Indiana Fever for last season, and it was something that they definitely needed to work on. Now you have Lexi, Sophie, DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, and so on. Imagine what it would be like for a young team to have a player like Bonner in the locker room all of a sudden. It's like adding a secret weapon that can read the opponent's playbook. Both Sophie Cunningham and DeWanna Bonner are versatile. Wabon, who is 6'4" and a locked-in defender, shoots the lights out. And Sophie Cunningham, who is also versatile, and they are long defending shooters who can play in different systems. Now, you may be wondering how this helps Caitlin Clark, but imagine how this adds to an already raging fire. Will opposing teams be able to withstand the heat? But Bonner's influence goes even further. Remember how we discussed the Fever building a fortress? Well, Bonner isn't just another brick in the wall. She's the architect helping Clark design plays that will leave opponents baffled. This isn't just about protecting Clark anymore. It's about letting her full potential. DeWanna Bonner is also an enforcer. She doesn't back down to anyone, so I can only imagine how many technical fouls the Fever might receive this season. I think it will be enjoyable, though, because Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie, and Aaliyah Boston were not afraid to be that enforcer. You know that moment when a team goes from good to great, and that's what DeWanna Bonner brings to the Fever. The real shock is that most people believe Bonner's signing is only about her on-court skills or her off-court impact, but they are both mistaken because Bonner's true value lies in her ability to take everyone's game to new heights. She isn't just experienced, she's seen it all, done it all, and now she's ready to lead this young Fever team through the pressure of a title run. Dan Bond signed the Fever champion as if they had to enter the championship as favorites, and they actually have to by re-signing Kelsey Mitchell to make room for Sophie Cunningham and signing Bonner and Toss Har. She is tall, so she can stretch the floor and play the 2 through the 4 when the Fever needs them. She also enjoys running the core because that is something we have been talking about, and the Fever have made it clear that they want to run the ball this season and play fast. They played fast last season, which was a huge advantage for them, and they're going to do it this season as well. Remember when the Indiana Fever were just another WNBA team? Well, those days are long gone. The Fever isn't just making moves, they're planning a complete transformation. And let me tell you, it's not just about. I may feel like I'm overreacting, but I don't think some people realize how significant these signs are. For example, these are some of the best free agents available this offseason, and they're also available for the Fever. Now, you might be thinking, well, they've made some big signings, so what? But here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever isn't just collecting star players. They're assembling a team with a purpose. It's like they're putting together a puzzle and every piece fits precisely. They're not just going out and trying to sign the best player they can find. They're finding pieces. Assembling a team that is cohesive, assembling a team that makes sense, assembling a team that will have chemistry on the court and not have drama in the locker room, that's what they're doing. Now let's break it down. Cunningham is bringing the fire, Howard is bringing the skill, and Bonner is bringing the wisdom. However, it's not just about individual talent, it's about how these pieces fit together. Can you picture Caitlin Clark with all this support around her? It's like giving a Super R a whole new engine, stating that she will be able to add more space to the court, and that is something with Natasha Howard. Additionally, you have that veteran leadership, and we know that Kelsey Mitchell can score the